We're live. Hi, Yulia.
Hi, Carrie. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you. So, welcome to Yulia, our wonderful yoga teacher and also social media manager here at the Frog Project. And I'm delighted to be able to interview her today for our Meet the Teachers monthly interview, where we're getting to know a little bit more about our wonderful teachers and everybody behind the scenes here at the Frog Project. I'm Carrie, and I'm really excited to chat to Yulia today. So we also have some people there in the chat room. Joy and Maria, hello. Feel free to drop
Hi.
any extra questions if you like. Um, Yulia, let's start with question number one. This
Okay.
question comes from Beth, and Beth would like to know, where does your passion for yoga come from, and where did you do your training?
Okay. Also, I did my training. Okay. So I would say that my passion came from my personal practice. So before I started teaching and went to education, right, like training course, I was practicing. I was going to a gym, attending some yoga classes, but in some point I was just realizing that they do not really progress when you attend yoga classes in a gym, right? So it's always around like beginners. So in some point I was like, I opened Instagram. I saw people are doing different stuff, and I'm like, okay, they do different. Why don't we start anything like this? And I realized that that's the limitation. What happens in all the let's say gyms. So I would say I felt like I was missing the fun, all the fun related to movement, to asana, and I was always curious how far I could go. So that was kind of very first trigger that actually motivated me to try and do my trainings later. And I would say one more, I would say even another big reason was that I was in a recovery process after being burnt out from my previous job, and I felt like I don't know something. I didn't feel always being good with myself. I didn't understand why I had so much stress. So I was thinking that perhaps it's kind of a call, a wake up call. So yoga, like being really interested in movement, exploring, and at the same time to learn a little bit about meditation, about feeling better. So I felt that that could be a good combo. I wouldn't say that I found all the answers, by the way, because it's like it's not always that you get immediately what you want. Sometimes you also have the wrong question. So I was not sure what exactly was coming first. So that's why I think I found my answers a bit later when I was starting teaching, when I was practicing more. So I think these two things, two aspects.
Amazing. Thanks, Yulia. And so, where did you do your training in the end?
So I was living in Greece back then, and I was I chose a yoga studio, just a local one that offered yoga training. So for me, my main important aspects were just to have exact schedule that fit into my busy schedule in that moment, and the price. So I wouldn't say that I did a very big research. I was thinking that you just find a yoga course and you get everything there. You heal your trauma, you get better in asanas. I think now I would choose, yeah, definitely my training a little bit different. So, yeah, so basically it was in Greece, 200 yoga course. And yeah, basically that's it.
Great. Thanks so much, Yulia. I think that's probably really answered Beth's question, and really interesting to learn a little bit more about you from that side of things. So the second question is a little bit, I think we've answered a bit of it, but learning a little bit more about your yoga journey. Um, and so you talked a bit about how it was sort of maybe helping you heal a little bit from burnout and your previous career and things. But what was it that made you decide to turn towards yoga teacher training after you'd been practicing it for so long? This question comes from Ruth, and she'd like to know, what made you start teaching, and also what other teaching do you do besides the Frog Project?
So I would say I never had a big dream of teaching yoga classes, because back then I worked in IT and I couldn't really combine these two different things in my life. And I would say that I heard like a small tiny voice, like, what if you try maybe teaching? But it was so scary in that point. So I decided that it's good if I maybe just work on improving myself and, getting better with the stress, getting better with movement. And if I feel in some point, I might start teaching. So this is how I felt back then. This tiny voice was there. It was sometimes like triggering, especially when I saw some people were practicing yoga somewhere, and like, I could be also there. I could actually teach. So I would say the transition was very smooth. I finished my course and I didn't go immediately teaching. Maybe I did a couple of classes with friends of mine. That I had a problem also. I didn't like speaking in public. So that was also a thing that didn't help, I would say. But at the same time, it was a trigger. So whenever I saw some other classes or attended some other classes, and I was like, I could actually do that too. So I would say that trigger in some point, like, I'm adult, I can do that. And in some point I was like, maybe I start. Also COVID helped a lot. I suddenly remembered that, oh, I'm actually a yoga teacher. There's so many people that they need to move. So why don't I start something? And I started teaching on my YouTube channel. I was offering live classes, and it was amazing. This is how I actually built my community, my very first community. And also talking about teaching, I would say that I think I was always a teacher. I maybe didn't think about teaching anything specific, but I always like to explain. And I think this is what people can see in my classes. If I know the subject, I can go to details. I can just, I just remember myself in the school. If I understood a subject like English, for example, right, and my friends didn't, I was the one who would explain to everyone. I'm an expert. I can talk. So I think something like this. Yeah. So it was a combo. Never like target, like, okay, I'm going to teach. No, it was like, I just try a little bit and see how it goes. Taking it super slow.
Well, we're so
Yeah.
glad you did.
Yeah, I'm so happy to. I couldn't imagine my life in any other way right now.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Yulia. Okay, so our third question comes from Lilia, and I think all of these questions have quite a nice theme and quite a nice link. So, do you have any tips for somebody maybe sitting on the fence who is thinking, maybe I'd like to become a yoga teacher as well?
Okay, so first of all, if you want to become a yoga teacher, don't quit your job first. Just try to test it a little bit. Check if it works for you, because as I told you, I also didn't know if it would be my career one day. So that's the first thing. Take it slow, test it. It's like in IT, we call it MVP. It's like always testing a bigger product, giving like small parts. Do people like it?
Mm-hmm.
Do we get any good feedback or bad feedback? So it's basically the same. And a second thing, I think if I was choosing a course at the moment, I would take it more responsible. Back then, when I did my course, it was, I think, 2018, if I'm not mistaken. So internet was not that much, like online courses and stuff. So I was choosing based on price and my program, right? Everything could fit. Now I would take it more seriously. I think, choose what I really want to focus on. Was it like mental health? Would it be just asanas or maybe specific yoga flow? Or do I want to explore more anatomy? So I would really stick what really interesting for me, because I think you can teach only things that is your experience. It's something that you are good at. So I would say my course didn't give me all the answers, right? So when I was actually checking the feedback of our yogis that finished the Frog Project yoga training course, I was so impressed that they got those answers that I couldn't get in my yoga course, because they were talking that they got some tools that they could apply, whenever they are stressed. Maybe they could know, okay, I know the breathing that can help me, or I know how to be better with my mind. I can deal with my emotions better. It's such a big subject, and I wish I could basically just learn from these things a bit earlier, because my course was more asana related, which is amazing. And I learned what I needed to learn, but it took a little bit longer, I would say. So I was really impressed with the feedback of our yogis. If I was choosing a course at the moment, I would go with a frog.
Our course.
For sure, let's go 100%. It's online also. I'm doing everything online now. Most of the things, masterclass, workshops, everything is online. And that's beautiful. Imagine you don't need to travel. You don't need to fit it so much into your program. So for me, I would maybe try online for sure.
That's really cool. Thank you for those tips. I hope that helps, Lilia. And Lilia, if you have questions, please let us know. So we'd love to know a question from Jane. How do you prepare to teach a class online? She says she comes to your classes and you bring so much energy to your class. How do you prepare it? And how do you bring that energy? Where does it come from? What's your secret?
Okay, so I would say it's quite simple. I just do what I love. And it's just, when it's something that you are doing, you are like, it's like fire, basically. So I just do what I love. I will be honest, when I was attending my business meetings in my corporate life, I didn't have that energy. So it's basically sharing what you love. And this is what the secret is. That's first part. The second part, I would say I'm preparing really good for my yoga classes. I always think about what I would like to bring to the class, what I would like you to feel after this class. So I create the sequence. I like this part. It's like a part of like doing something artistic to me. It's just not only the drawings, but also where I'm guiding you. So that's about like my teaching about related to me. But there is also one more part here is I love bringing people to their, I would say, to shake their beliefs about themselves. So the first part was about me. I love what I'm doing. I love what, basically that I prepare. But I also think about other people, what kind of experience I would like them to have. And I always add a little bit of challenge in the classes, because I think we don't know what we can do. And very often I would say most of people, they want to progress in something. And in my yoga classes, I bring people to their boundaries. It's not like okay, we're going to do headstand today. No, not really. But I can make a flow that you will be curious and you might try. Like, oh, I actually could try that. And since everyone likes to progress, I don't think there are people that like to be stuck in the past. We always want to try something new. I think that's a very big part of my classes, that people, they leave classes and they think like, oh, I didn't know I could do that. So I think that's very, this is what I liked from my teachers, and this is what I'm trying to bring to my teaching also as well. So yeah, I would say this is it. That's the secret.
That's fantastic. What a great answer. And I love the two different parts there. Thank you so much, Yulia.
I like structure, as you can see.
You like structure. So this leads me to our last question, and it's actually a question from me, because I want to know more about this, about you. And I guess it links to as well, like pushing yourself to the edge. I know that you sometimes dabble with ice baths, and I'm really curious to know a little bit more about this. Like, obviously, you're pushing yourself to some kind of edge. I'd love to know, like, how frequently you do it, what benefits you're noticing, and do you do it before yoga practice or after yoga practice? And if someone was curious to give it a try, what would you suggest?
Okay, so I guess you can understand that I'm this type of personality that I like to discover things about myself, to help other people to discover things about themselves, to push the limits, getting out of the comfort zone. So if someone had told me 10 years ago, even 5 years ago, that I would do ice bath, I would never believe, because that's not my thing. Like, those people are crazy. Why would they do that? But I realized that in life, we are often guided by our triggers. And when I saw, I think it was in Denmark during COVID, when I saw people doing this here, and it was super popular, first reaction was like, they are crazy. This is not normal. Why would you put yourself there? But then when it's triggers, what triggers us? It's like things where maybe envy, things that we maybe find inspiring or motivational. So then it's from like being like scared and triggered. I went to this curiosity part. I'm like, no one died. So perhaps I could try that too. So I tried, I think for the first time, it was end of last year, if I'm not mistaken. And the first thing I was like screaming, it was like 5 seconds, maybe three. And what I took from there is that I realized my brain was scared more than actually the experience in general was. Of course, the water is cold, but it's not that cold. And you can really, if you know to breathe right, it actually helps a lot. So first time I tried it with sauna, just going to here we have Baltic Sea, and like very short, like 5-10 seconds. Then we realized that we might do it more often at home. So we bought that ice cube, I think we call them, ice bath. Mm-hmm. And I decided to try it every day after my yoga class, because I'm doing my personal practice usually in the morning. And every time I finish, I just go, and first time it was 10 seconds. I think I ended with maybe 2 minutes or something like this in the water, which is like ice water, right? Like +1, I think it is. So I had to break the ice in order to enter. But okay, what benefits I noticed? First of all, I noticed that it's just pure happiness. You know, we get these endorphins in the brain, like hormones of happiness, and you are just so high after this. It's amazing. You're happy, and it's something that very helpful when you start your day, because the weather maybe is not good, maybe motivation, maybe your discipline is always not the best. But when it's the first thing, one of the first things you do in the morning, you just feel like a superhero. You're like, I'm a superwoman. If I did this and I feel so good now, I can do everything. So that became a part of my morning routine, and I was doing it through entire year, I think till summer, where it became quite hot. So we removed it for a while, and thinking to put it back when it's getting a little bit colder. And what other benefits? I stopped freezing. That was such a big thing. I lived in Greece before, and the climate is warm and nice there. And when now in Denmark, it's way colder, right? So I was freezing a lot. And after ice bath, I noticed that I'm not freezing. It's like thermoregulation, I think it's called. It's just, it works differently now. So I'm super happy about that. So you said also tips, right? Tips for someone who would start this.
Yeah. If someone was considering it now, thinking, maybe I should give it a go.
You should give it a go.
Number one tip, just do it. Don't think.
So first of all, you believe about it is worse than it is. If you try it, it's not so bad. I was there, I know. And second, it's about the breath. I couldn't understand it in the beginning, but I realized that if I know how to breathe, if I control my breath, it actually helps a lot. And it makes you to stay even longer. It's basically how we hold some poses, stretching poses in yoga, right? They don't feel always confident. They don't feel always like the best thing, right? They are sometimes feel discomfort. So the right breath, and I'm not practicing any breath of Wim Hof. I never needed that. I just use our full yogic breath. all these 3 layers we have, and it works perfectly. So breathing, if you practice yoga, that's already a huge help, I would say, to start ice bath, because you already know how to breathe. Second, don't be scared. It's not so bad as it feels, as it looks, actually. And maybe third one, what could it be? Yeah, something about yoga. After yoga, it's really good, because it's like your nervous system is relaxed. And I have tried to go to my ice bath after yoga. It feels like okay, acceptable. But if I go to ice bath just in the middle of the day, it's not the same. So a short practice, short movement, like a yoga class or maybe any other activity you do, it really helps, because you'll start already breathing deeply. So you're like halfway prepared. So just don't go right away from your bed. Do something first to prepare a little bit, and it's gonna feel way better.
That's amazing. Thank you so much, Yulia. I hope that our listeners are inspired to give it a go. And I really like how you've kind of linked it with yoga and with breathing and with all of that. So it feels like really just relevant and helpful and useful and fantastic. So thank you so much. That brings us to the end of these wonderful questions. So a massive thank you to you, Yulia, for your time today and for all of these wonderful questions that our community have sent in. And for those of you that are here live, I'm looking at Joyce.
Thank you.
Joyce was on the YTT and she says, yes, the YTT has the lot.
Really?
And then if you're watching on the catch up, then I hope you enjoyed this chat as well. So we have another one coming next month. We will reveal who we'll speak to soon. But thank you so much, Yulia, for your time and your energy and your beautiful presence. And we will see you soon.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.